Have you ever felt like you're carrying a weight no one else can see? A quiet ache in your chest, whispering that you don't belong, that you're not enough. That's where we find Claire. In a world that demands perfection, she's learned to hide her scars. But sometimes the deepest wounds are the ones that lead us home. This is a story of heartbreak and healing, of a woman who thought she'd lost everything until she found something worth fighting for. A circle of friends bound by loyalty, a love written in the stars, and a battle that will test them all. But before Claire can rise, she must face the shadows of her past and the fire that threatens to consume her future. Join us on a journey through a world where destiny calls, where courage is born from pain, and where love can light the way through even the darkest nights. This is Claire's story, and it's only just beginning. 1. Claire's ambition and the allure of wealth. Every story begins with a dream, doesn't it? For Claire Thompson, that dream was to make it big in the City of Angels. A 28-year-old interior designer with a knack for turning spaces into stories, she had talent in spades, but her bank account, that told a different tale. Claire wasn't just chasing fame or fortune for herself. Back home in Ohio, her parents were scraping by their farm, barely holding on. Every month, she sent what little she could spare, but it never felt like enough. Her dream wasn't just to design beautiful homes, it was to build a life where she could lift up the ones she loved. And in LA, that meant taking risks. But dreams don't come easy in a city like this. Work had been slow lately, and Claire's phone wasn't ringing with clients. That's when Brandon walked in, her fast-talking deal-making connection to the world of high-paying gigs. With his slick grin and a knack for sniffing out money, he was the kind of guy who could open doors. But you had to watch your back. Claire, I've got something big for you, real big. Big, huh? Let's hear it. His name's Rick Harper, lives in a mansion out in the hills, needs his place redesigned pronto. Guy's loaded pays 5 times the usual rate. What's the catch, Brandon? There's always a catch with you. No catch. Just gotta impress him first. He's got a thing for natural encounters, so I'll set it up. You'll bump into him at Griffith Park tomorrow morning, literally. You in? 5 times the usual rate. Those words lit a spark in Claire's chest. It wasn't just about the money, it was about freedom. Freedom from late-night worries, from the guilt of not doing enough for her family. But ambition like a flame can warm you or burn you if you're not careful. Claire didn't know it yet, but saying yes to Brandon's plan was the first step toward a path she couldn't predict. Claire's ambition wasn't just about personal success. It was rooted in love and responsibility. She wanted to prove herself in a cutthroat industry, to show her parents their sacrifices weren't in vain. But ambition can blind us, can't it? It makes us see opportunities where we should see red flags. Brandon's deal sounded like a golden ticket, but it came with strings Claire couldn't yet see. In her eagerness to chase the dream, she was stepping into a world where wealth and charm could hide dangerous truths. Claire's story reminds me of a friend named Sarah, a graphic designer in Chicago. She was struggling taking freelance gigs to pay rent when a big-shot client offered her a dream project designing a campaign for a luxury brand. The pay was life-changing, but the client asked her to fudge some numbers to secure the deal. Sarah said yes, desperate to get ahead. But when the truth came out, she lost her reputation and nearly her career. Like Claire, Sarah learned the hard way that ambition needs a moral compass, or it can lead you somewhere you never meant to go. Ambition is a powerful force, but it's not enough on its own. It's like a car without brakes, fast thrilling, but dangerous if you don't steer with care. Claire's first lesson was, this: always look beyond the shine of an opportunity. Ask who's pulling the strings and what they stand to gain, because sometimes the cost of chasing a dream is more than you're ready to pay. He didn't bite Brandon, but I'm not giving up. Claire's spark of ambition was now a flame, fueled by the promise of Rick's world. She didn't know it yet, but that chance encounter in the park was only the beginning. Beyond the glamour of his wealth lay a mansion, with secrets that would test her heart, her courage, and everything she thought she wanted. Let's step through those iron gates and see what waits inside. 2. The mysterious mansion and its secrets. There's something about old houses, isn't there? They hold stories in their walls, whispers of lives long past. For Claire Thompson, stepping into Rick Harper's mansion was like crossing into another world, a world of beauty, wealth, and secrets she couldn't yet name. Claire had landed the job of a lifetime redesigning the home of one of LA's most elusive bachelors. After her staged bump into Rick at Griffith Park, he'd called her the next day, impressed by her passion. Now standing before his mansion, she felt a flicker of hope. This could be her big break, the chance to prove herself and save her family's farm back in Ohio. But even as her heart raced with excitement, something in the air felt heavy. "Claire, welcome. I hope the drive wasn't too much trouble." "Not at all, Rick. This place, it's incredible. Come, let me show you around. I want it to feel alive again, full of light like your designs." The mansion was a designer's dream antique furniture, begging for a modern touch rooms that could tell 1,000 stories. But as Claire walked its halls, she noticed something odd. Etched into the floor near the grand staircase was a symbol, intricate, almost ritualistic, its lines twisting like vines. It didn't match the decor, and it sent a shiver down her spine. "What's this symbol, Rick? It's unusual." "No idea. Old house, old quirks. Probably just decorative nonsense from the previous owners." That symbol was Claire's first clue, a whisper of the mansion's secrets. She didn't know it yet, but it was tied to something far darker than outdated decor, a curse that had haunted Rick's family for generations. Claire's instinct told her to dig deeper, but ambition held her back. She was here to design to impress, not to play detective. How often do we do that? Ignore a gut feeling because the prize seems too good to lose. For Claire, that choice would come at a cost, pulling her into a web of charm and danger she wasn't ready to face. Claire's moment reminds me of a story about my cousin Mike, a real estate agent in San Francisco. He was hired to sell a gorgeous Victorian home, but something felt off creaky floors, cold spots, and strange carvings in the basement. The client brushed it off as old charm, and Mike, eager for the commission, didn't push. Later, he learned the house had a history of unexplained incidents, and the sale fell through when buyers got spooked. Like Claire, Mike ignored his instincts for the sake of a deal, only to regret it. Sometimes the signs are there, we just have to listen. Secrets don't always shout, they whisper. Claire's second lesson was this: trust your instincts even when the world tells you to look away. A strange symbol, a too perfect smile, a chill in the air. These are the clues life gives us. Pay attention, because what you choose to ignore today might be the truth you need tomorrow. You're doing incredible work, Claire. Stay for a drink. Let's talk about your vision. Sure, why not? As Claire raised that glass, she felt the glow of Rick's attention, the pull of his world. The mansion's secrets were still just shadows in her mind, easily pushed aside by his charm. But shadows have a way of growing, don't they? And as Claire stepped deeper into Rick's orbit, she was about to learn just how powerful and dangerous that pull could be. Let's follow her into the heart of his spell and see what happens next. 3. Claire's growing attraction to Rick. There's a moment when someone new can make your heart skip a beat, like the world slows down, and all you see is possibility. For Claire Riley, that moment came with Rick Harper. His charm was like a magnet drawing her in, promising a life she'd only dreamed of. But magnets don't just attract, they can pull you off your path if you're not careful. Claire had been working at Rick's mansion for a week, pouring her heart into redesigning its shadowed halls. Every day, Rick found ways to linger, checking on her progress, praising her sketches, or sharing stories of his travels. To a woman who'd spent years hustling in LA, scraping by for her family's farm in Ohio, his attention felt like sunlight after a long winter. It wasn't just his wealth or his looks, it was the way he made her feel seen, like she was more than just another designer fighting to make it. You're doing incredible work, Claire. I've never met anyone with your eye for beauty. This place, it's coming alive because of you. Thanks, Rick. That means a lot. I'm just trying to make it feel like a home again. It's more than that. You're bringing light to it, and to me. That spark, it was electric. Rick wasn't just a client anymore. He was a possibility. Dinners at his mansion became routine, each one more intimate than the last. He'd send a driver to pick her up, treat her to meals prepared by his chef, and listen to her dreams, like they mattered. Claire began to imagine a life beside him, glamorous, secure, free from the worries that kept her up at night. But beneath his charm, something stirred in the shadows, something Claire was too dazzled to see. To new beginnings, Claire, and to you, someone who's already changing my world. You're too kind, Rick. I'm just doing my job. Oh, you're doing much more than that. Trust me. Claire's attraction to Rick wasn't just about his charm, it was about what he represented. In a city like LA, where success feels like a race, you're always losing. Rick offered a finish-line wealth status and the kind of love that seemed to promise everything. But attraction can be a tricky thing, can't it? It can make you see what you want, not what's really there. Rick's attention fed Claire's dreams, but it also clouded her judgment. She didn't see the strings he was pulling, the way his charm was a carefully crafted spell, and that strange symbol on the mansion's floor. It faded to the back of her mind, drowned out by the glow of his words. This reminds me of a friend, Emily, who moved to New York to chase her acting dreams. She met a producer at a networking event, charismatic, well-connected, always saying the right things. He promised her a role in a big project, took her to fancy dinners, and made her feel like a star. But Emily didn't notice the red flags, his vague promises, the way he dodged questions about the project. She was so caught up in his charm that she missed the truth he was using her to boost his own ego. When the role fell through, Emily was crushed. Like Claire, she learned that charm can be a mask, and what glitters isn't always gold. Attraction can light up your world, but it can also blind you. Claire's third lesson was this: don't let someone's charm drown out your instincts. A kind word, a dazzling smile, they're powerful, but they're not the whole story. Look for actions that match the words, for truths that hold up in the light of day. Because real love doesn't just make you feel seen, it makes you feel safe. As Claire drove away from the mansion that night, her heart was full, her dreams brighter than ever. Rick's world was pulling her in, and she was ready to dive deeper. But dreams have shadows, don't they? And while Claire was falling for Rick's spell, someone else was watching from the sidelines, someone whose quiet love had been there all along, waiting for her to see it. Let's turn our eyes to Jake and the heart he's been hiding. For Jake's hidden love and Claire's blindness. Love has a way of hiding in plain sight, doesn't it? It's in the small things, the way someone listens, the way they show up when you need them most. For Jake Carter, love was Claire Riley. But sometimes the person you love is too caught up in their own dreams to see the heart right in front of them. Jake wasn't the kind of guy who turned heads like Rick Harper. No mansions, no fancy suits, just a quiet strength and a heart that beat for Claire. They'd been friends since their college days at UCLA, back when Claire was juggling classes and part-time jobs to keep her family's Ohio farm afloat. Jake was there through it all, helping her study, bringing her coffee during late-night cramming sessions, even driving her home when her car broke down. But to Claire, he was just Jake, her dependable friend. And now as she chased Rick's glittering world, Jake's love stayed hidden, a flame burning in silence. Thought you might need this. You look like you're fighting a war with those notes. You're a lifesaver, Jake. What would I do without you? Hopefully you'll never find out. Jake knew about Claire's new gig at Rick's mansion. She'd called him, bubbling with excitement about the job, about Rick's charm. Every word was like a knife, but Jake listened because that's what he did. He showed up even when it hurt. He could have told her how he felt, could have warned her about the way Rick's smile didn't reach his eyes. But Jake stayed quiet, afraid of losing her altogether. Instead, he kept helping in the ways he knew how, fixing her leaky apartment sink, dropping off groceries when she worked late. Small acts, big love, all unseen by Claire's dazzled heart. "Jake, you're amazing for doing this. I owe you big time." "Rick just invited me to dinner again. Can you believe it?" "Yeah, sounds great, Claire. Just be careful, okay? Guys like that, they're not always what they seem." "Oh, come on, Jake. He's just a client, a really nice one. You worry too much." Claire's blindness wasn't her fault, not really. She was caught in the glow of Rick's world, a place where her dreams felt within reach. Jake's love, steady and quiet, couldn't compete with that dazzle. But that's the thing about love, isn't it? The truest kind doesn't shout. It waits, hoping you'll notice. Jake's silence was his way of protecting Claire, giving her the space to chase her dreams. But it also kept her from seeing the truth, that the man who'd always been there was the one who'd never let her fall. Claire's heart was too busy looking up at the stars to see the light right beside her. This hits close to home for me, thinking about my friend Alex in Seattle. He was in love with his best friend Mia for years. He was her rock, helping her through breakups, moving her into new apartments, always there with a laugh or a late-night pizza. But Mia was chasing a high-flying tech guy, someone who promised her the world. Alex never spoke up, afraid he'd ruin their friendship. By the time Mia realized the tech guy was all talk, Alex had moved away, needing space to heal. Like Jake, he loved quietly, and like Claire, Mia was too caught up to see it. It's a reminder that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who matter most. Love doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's a steady glow waiting for you to turn and see it. Claire's fourth lesson was this: don't let the dazzle of a dream blind you to the people who've always been there. Look at the ones who show up day after day, not for what they can gain, but for who you are. Because real love isn't about promises of tomorrow, it's about being present today. As Jake faded into the city's shadows, Claire was falling deeper into Rick's spell. Her heart too full of his promises to notice the quiet love she'd left behind. But shadows have a way of creeping closer, don't they? And while Claire dreamed of a future with Rick, someone else was watching someone whose envy would soon twist their friendship into something darker. Let's turn to Ivy and the secret she's about to unravel. 5 Ivy's jealousy and betrayal. Friendship is a kind of love, isn't it? It's built on laughter, shared secrets, and the promise to have each other's backs. But even the strongest bonds can crack under the weight of envy. For Ivy Martinez, Claire Riley's best friend, that crack was growing wider every day, fueled by a jealousy she couldn't quite name. Ivy and Claire had been inseparable since their UCLA days, late-night study sessions, road trips to Santa Barbara, dreams of conquering LA together. Ivy was the spark, always ready with a joke or a plan. Claire was the anchor, steady and driven. But lately, Ivy felt like she was fading into Claire's shadow. Claire's new gig at Rick Harper's mansion, her glowing stories about his charm, it all stung. And then there was Jake Carter, Claire's quiet friend whose sea-green eyes lit up for her in a way Ivy secretly wished they'd light up for someone else. Someone like her. "Jake's practically your personal assistant, Claire. When's he gonna get a life?" "Oh, he's just Jake. You know how he is always there when I need him." Ivy's jealousy wasn't just about Rick or Jake. It was about feeling left behind. Claire was climbing toward her dreams, while Ivy was stuck bartending her acting auditions, going nowhere. Jake's devotion to Claire only made it worse. Ivy had liked him for years, but he never saw her the way he saw Claire. That ache turned into a choice, one that would shatter their friendship. Instead of talking to Claire, Ivy let her envy fester, and soon it spilled over into a lie that would change everything. "Ivy, you won't believe it. Rick took me to this amazing restaurant in Malibu. I don't know, different." "That's great, Claire. But, can we talk about Jake for a sec? I heard something weird." "Jake, what about him?" "I didn't want to say anything, but he's been talking behind your back. Said some stuff about you and Rick, like he thinks you're just chasing money. I thought you should know." That lie was a spark in dry grass. Claire, already dazzled by Rick, didn't question Ivy's words. She texted Jake, her anger pouring out, accusing him of betrayal. Jake tried to explain, but Claire wouldn't listen. In one moment, Ivy's envy had driven a wedge between them, pushing Jake out of Claire's life. Ivy told herself it was just a nudge, a way to keep Claire from taking Jake for granted. But deep down, she knew it was more a selfish act to dim Claire's light, and maybe win Jake's heart. Ivy's betrayal wasn't born from hatred, it came from insecurity. Jealousy is a quiet thief slipping into your heart when you feel like you're not enough. For Ivy, watching Claire soar while she struggled felt like losing a race she didn't even know she was running. Instead of celebrating her friend, she lashed out using a lie to pull Claire down. It's something we've all felt at some point, isn't it? That pang when someone else's success makes you question your own worth. But Ivy's choice shows what happens when we let that pang turn into action, when we hurt the ones we love to feel better about ourselves. This reminds me of a story from my old high school in Denver. My friend Lisa was a star on the debate team, always winning trophies. Her best friend Tara was just as talented, but never got the spotlight. When Lisa landed a big scholarship, Tara spread a rumor that Lisa had cheated to win it. The lie tore their friendship apart, and Tara later confessed it came from feeling like she'd never measure up. Like Ivy, Tara let jealousy cloud her love, and it cost her a friend she cherished. It's a hard truth: envy doesn't lift you up, it pulls everyone down. Jealousy whispers that someone else's light dims your own, but that's a lie. Ivy's fifth lesson was this: your worth isn't measured by outshining others, it's in lifting each other up. When envy creeps in, talk about it, lean into love, not resentment. Because true friendship doesn't compete, it celebrates. As Ivy's lie took root, Claire's world was spinning faster, pulled by Rick's charm and the promise of a life she'd always wanted. But lies have a way of unraveling, don't they? And while Ivy wrestled with her guilt, Claire was about to stumble on a truth that would shake her dreams to their core. Let's step back into the mansion, where a hidden symbol is waiting to whisper its secrets. 6. Claire's discovery of the curse. Sometimes the truth is right in front of you, hidden in the shadows you've been too afraid or too dazzled to face. For Claire Riley, the mansion she'd been redesigning wasn't just a job anymore. It was a puzzle, and the pieces were starting to fall into place, revealing a truth darker than she could have imagined. Claire had been swept up in Rick Harper's world, his charm, his wealth, the promise of a life free from worry. But lately cracks were showing. That odd symbol in the foyer, Rick's too quick dismissal of it, the way the mansion felt heavier at night, it all gnawed at her. She'd pushed her doubts aside, blinded by ambition and attraction, but a message from her best friend Ivy Martinez was about to shatter that illusion. A message that would change everything. Claire, you're in danger. Rick isn't who you think. He's a werewolf tied to a curse that's haunted his family for generations. He's not marrying you for love. He needs you to break it, and it could cost you everything. I'm sorry for lying about Jake. Please trust me. Ivy. A werewolf. A curse. It sounded like a bad horror movie, but Ivy's words hit Claire like a cold wave. She thought back to the symbol, to Rick's late-night absences, to the way his smile never quite reached his eyes. Her mind raced, piecing together the clues she'd ignored. But before she could process it, Rick appeared, his charm dialed up, and Claire, desperate for answers, made a choice that would trap her in his web. Claire, you're working late again. Everything okay? Yeah, just curious about this place. That symbol in the foyer, it's not just decor, is it? What's the real story, Rick? You're too smart for your own good, aren't you? It's an old family tradition, nothing more. Ivy says it's more than that. She says you're hiding something. Are you? You should have left it alone, Claire. Now you're part of something bigger. Don't fight it, it'll be over soon. In that moment, Claire's world turned upside down. Ivy's letter had revealed Rick's true nature, a werewolf bound by a curse that demanded a sacrifice to break it. Claire was that sacrifice chosen to free him at the cost of her own future. Her trust in Rick, her dreams of a glamorous life crumbled into fear. And yet, even as she sat, trapped Ivy's apology about Jake Carter, the friend she'd pushed away stung just as deeply. Claire had ignored the truth for too long, and now it had her in its grip. Claire's discovery of the curse was a wake-up call, but it came too late. She'd let Rick's charm blind her to the red flags, the symbol his secrecy, her own instincts. Ivy's letter, though painful, was a lifeline, a reminder that sometimes the people we hurt still try to save us. But truth is a double-edged sword, isn't it? It can set you free, or it can trap you if you're not ready to face it. Claire's ambition had led her to Rick. Her blindness had kept her from Jake, and now her curiosity had locked her in his cage. The curse wasn't just Rick's, it was a mirror showing Claire the cost of ignoring the truth. This reminds me of a story about my neighbor Rachel in Portland. She was dating a guy who seemed perfect, great job, charming, always saying the right things. But her friend warned her he'd been lying about his past, hiding a history of fraud. Rachel dismissed it too, in Love to Listen. When the truth came out he'd been using her credit card, she was devastated. Like Claire, Rachel ignored a friend's warning because the truth was too hard to face. It's a lesson we all learn. Eventually, the truth doesn't wait for us to be ready. It demands our attention. Truth can be scary, but it's always worth facing. Claire's sixth lesson was this: don't run. Below is the script for number 7, Jake's werewolf identity and sacrifice, written in English for the 180-minute video following the agreed-upon outline. The tone is warm, storytelling-driven, and relatable, crafted for an American audience. This section includes a clear explanation, a real-life example, a small lesson, and a smooth transition to the next part fitting within the 12-minute time frame for each of the 15 parts. 7, Jake's werewolf identity and sacrifice. There's a kind of love that doesn't ask for anything in return, a love that gives even when it costs everything. For Jake Carter, that love was Claire Riley. He'd carried it in silence for years, but now in the heart of a forest, under a breaking dawn, his love was about to demand the ultimate sacrifice. Claire was trapped a pawn in Rick Harper's plan to break a curse that bound his werewolf bloodline. She'd learned the truth too late. Rick's charm was a lie, his love a trap. But even as fear gripped her, hope flickered. Ivy Martinez, her friend who'd betrayed her with a lie about Jake, had risked everything to send a warning. And Jake, the friend Claire had pushed away, was coming for her. But he wasn't coming as the quiet man she knew. He was coming as something more, something he'd sworn never to be again. Never again, I won't let it control me. That wolf was Jake, a secret he'd buried deep. Years ago, a freak accident in the mountains had turned him into a werewolf, a curse he fought to control. He'd vowed never to shift again, terrified of losing himself to the beast. But for Claire, he broke that vow. With every snarl, every claw he fought, Rick risking his humanity to save the woman he loved. It wasn't just a battle against Rick, it was a battle against his own fears, a sacrifice that could cost him everything. Jake, hold on, I'm here. Claire, run, we've got this. You're safe now, that's all that matters. Jake's sacrifice wasn't just breaking his vow, it was laying bare his heart. He'd hidden his werewolf nature from Claire, afraid she'd see a monster. But in that forest, he showed her the man he truly was. Someone who'd risk everything for her, no matter the cost. Claire, seeing Jake's pain, felt the weight of her blindness, how she'd pushed him away, believing Ivy's lie. His love, raw and selfless, was a mirror reflecting the truth she'd ignored for too long. Jake's identity as a werewolf wasn't just a secret, it was a burden. He'd spent years fighting to be more than his curse, to be the friend Claire needed. His sacrifice in that forest was the ultimate act of love, showing that true devotion doesn't seek reward. It seeks the other's safety. But sacrifices come with scars, don't they? Jake's choice to shift left him vulnerable physically and emotionally, and it forced Claire to face her own mistakes. Love like Jake's is rare, but it demands something in return, not repayment, but recognition. Claire was starting to see that now, but the question was, would it be too late? This reminds me of my friend Marcus, a firefighter in Chicago. He loved his partner Elena, but never told her how deep it ran. One night, a fire trapped a family in an apartment building. Marcus ran in against orders to save them, knowing he might not make it out. He survived barely, but the burns left scars. When Eleanor saw what he'd done, she realized his quiet love was louder than words. Like Jake, Marcus risked everything for others, and like Claire, Eleanor had to learn to see the love that didn't shout. It's a reminder that the greatest acts of love often come with the greatest cost. Love that sacrifices doesn't ask for applause. It asks for your heart to notice. Jake's 7th lesson was this: cherish the people who give without expecting return. Their quiet acts, their unseen battles are the truest proof of love. Don't wait until they're scarred to see it open your eyes before the cost grows too high. As the forest faded behind them, Claire carried Jake's sacrifice, like a weight in her chest, a reminder of the love she'd overlooked. But even as she faced the truth about Rick's curse, another truth was waiting to surface. Ivy, the friend who'd betrayed her, held a secret of her own, one that would test their bond and force Claire to confront the pain she'd caused. Let's step back into the light and uncover Ivy's confession. 8. Ivy's redemption and confession. Friendship, like love, can falter under the weight of our mistakes. But sometimes it's those very mistakes that show us who we can become. For Ivy Martinez, her betrayal of Claire Riley was a wound she couldn't ignore, a lie born of jealousy that nearly cost her friend everything. Now, in the light of a new day, Ivy was ready to face her truth and fight for redemption. Ivy had let envy twist her heart lying to Claire about Jake Carter's intentions to pull them apart. She'd wanted Jake's affection, wanted to feel like she wasn't fading next to Claire's rising star. But her lie had pushed Claire into Rick Harper's dangerous world, a werewolf whose cursed plan nearly claimed her life. In that forest clearing, Ivy had helped save Claire, smashing her chains with a crowbar, risking everything to right her wrong. But salvation doesn't erase guilt, does it? Ivy knew she owed Claire more than an escape. She owed her the truth. Ivy, you saved me back there. I don't know how to thank you, but I need to know why. Why did you lie about Jake? I was jealous, Claire. You had everything: Rick's attention, Jake's love, your dreams coming true. I felt like I was disappearing. I liked Jake, always have, and when he only saw you, I snapped. I lied to hurt you, to make you doubt him. And then I tried to kiss him after you pushed him away. He stopped me, Claire. Said he only loved you. I hated myself for it, for all of it. When I found out about Rick's curse, I had to make it right. I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know the truth. Ivy, you broke my trust, but you came for me when it mattered. That means something. Ivy's confession was a weight lifted, but it came with scars. She'd bared her soul admitting her jealousy and her attempt to cross a line with Jake. For Claire, it was a bittersweet moment. Gratitude for Ivy's bravery in the forest, pain for her betrayal. But in that coffee shop, something shifted. Ivy wasn't just seeking forgiveness. She was choosing to grow to be the friend Claire deserved. Redemption isn't a single act. It's a promise to do better, even when it hurts. Ivy's redemption was about facing her flaws head-on. Her jealousy had driven a wedge between her and Claire, but her courage to confess and to risk her life to save her friend showed that love can outshine envy. Friendships aren't perfect. They're messy, full of human failings. But what makes them last is the willingness to own your mistakes and rebuild trust. Ivy's lie had nearly destroyed everything, but her truth was a step toward healing. For Claire, it was a chance to see Ivy's heart to weigh forgiveness against pain. We've all been there, haven't we? Standing at the crossroads of hurt and hope, deciding whether to let go or hold on. This reminds me of a story about my co-worker Jenna in San Diego. She and her friend Maria were like sisters, but when Maria got a promotion, Jenna had wanted jealousy crept in. Jenna started gossiping, saying Maria didn't deserve it. The rumor spread, and Maria was heartbroken. When Jenna saw the damage, she confessed apologizing in front of their team. It took time, but Maria forgave her, and they rebuilt their friendship stronger than before. Like Ivy, Jenna learned that owning your mistakes is the first step to redemption. And like Claire, Maria showed that forgiveness can heal what envy breaks. Redemption begins with truth, no matter how hard it is to speak. Ivy's 8th lesson was, this owning your mistakes doesn't erase them, but it opens the door to healing. When you've hurt someone, don't hide, step into the light. Confess and choose to grow. Because real friendship isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest even when it costs you pride. As Ivy laid her heart bare, Claire stood at the edge of forgiveness, her trust bruised but not broken. But the forest battle had left more than scars. It had awakened a truth about Jake that Claire couldn't ignore. His sacrifice, his love, was pulling her toward a new path, one where she'd have to face her own heart and the choices that had led her here. Let's follow Claire as she steps out of the shadows and into the fight for her freedom. 9. Claire's escape and realization. Freedom isn't just breaking chains, it's breaking the illusions that held you captive in the first place. For Claire, Riley escaping Rick Harper's deadly trap was only the beginning. As she fled through that forest, her heart was racing, not just with fear, but with a dawning truth. The life she'd chased, the love she'd overlooked, had nearly cost her everything. Claire had been moments from becoming a sacrifice to Rick's werewolf curse, a ritual to free his bloodline by binding her to its darkness. But Jake's sacrifice, revealing his own werewolf nature to save her and Ivy's courage, risking her life to break Claire's chains, had turned the tide. As they staggered towards safety, Claire's mind was a storm. Rick's betrayal had shattered her dreams of wealth and glamour, but it was Jake's love, steady, selfless, that cut deepest. She'd pushed him away, blinded by Rick's charm and Ivy's lie, and now seeing him bleed for her, she couldn't ignore the truth any longer. Jake, stay with me. You're going to be okay. I'm so sorry for everything. Don't, Claire. You're safe. That's enough. We need to move. Rick might not stay down for long. That escape wasn't just from Rick's clutches. It was from the life Claire had been chasing. Every mile they put between themselves and that forest cleared the fog from her heart. She saw Jake's love for what it was, a light that had never wavered even when she turned away. And Ivy, her friend who'd betrayed her with a lie about Jake, had risked everything to make it right. Claire's realization wasn't just about what she'd lost. It was about what she still had if she could find the courage to hold on. Ivy, thank you for coming for me. I don't know if I deserve it after everything. You're my best friend, Claire. I messed up, but I couldn't let you go. We're not done fixing this, any of us. Claire's escape was more than physical. It was an awakening. Rick's curse had nearly claimed her, but it was her own choices, chasing wealth, ignoring Jake, dismissing Ivy, that had led her to that altar. Her realization in that car was a turning point. Love and friendship, not glamour or ambition, were what mattered. Jake's sacrifice showed her the depth of his devotion. Ivy's courage proved that even broken bonds could mend. We've all had moments like this, haven't we? When life strips away the illusions and we see what's been there all along. For Claire, that truth was both a gift and a burden, demanding she face the pain she'd caused and the love she'd nearly lost. This reminds me of my friend Sam, who moved to Miami, chasing a high-flying finance job. He ignored his family's warnings about his shady boss, too caught up in the promise of wealth. When the company collapsed in a scandal, Sam lost everything: his savings, his reputation. But his sister, who he'd drifted from, drove across the country to pick him up. No questions asked. That car ride home like Claire's was his wake-up call. Sam realized the people who stood by him, not the money he chased, were his true wealth. Like Claire, he learned that escaping a trap means seeing what you've been blind to. Escaping isn't just running, it's seeing clearly. Claire's 9th lesson was this: the truest freedom comes from recognizing what matters most. Don't wait for a crisis to notice the love and loyalty around you. Hold them close, because they're the anchors that keep you steady when the world falls apart. As Claire stood in that hospital, her heart was rewriting its priorities. Jake's love, Ivy's loyalty, they were her lifelines, pulling her back from the edge. But the forest had left scars, and the truth about Rick's curse was only the beginning. Claire was free, but her fight wasn't over. She was about to take her first steps toward reclaiming her life and facing the man who'd nearly taken it. Let's follow her as she finds the strength to rise. 10. Jake's departure and Claire's regret. There's a moment when you realize you've lost something precious, not because it was taken, but because you let it slip through your fingers. For Claire Riley, that moment came in a sterile hospital room, where the man who'd saved her life was about to walk away. Jake Carter's love had been her lifeline, but now she faced the cost of her blindness and the pain of his goodbye. Jake had risked everything to save Claire from Rick Harper's cursed ritual, breaking his vow never to shift into his werewolf form, fighting to protect her. In that forest, Claire had seen his love for what it was, unwavering, selfless a light she'd ignored while chasing Rick's empty promises. But the scars of her choices lingered. She'd pushed Jake away, believing Ivy Martinez's lie that he'd betrayed her. Now as Jake recovered, Claire carried a new weight regret, sharp and heavy, for the pain she'd caused the one who'd never stopped loving her. Jake, I don't even know where to start. You saved me and I hurt you. I'm so sorry for believing Ivy's lie for shutting you out. Claire, I don't blame you. You were chasing your dreams. I couldn't watch you get hurt anymore. I see you now, Jake. I see what I should have seen all along. Please don't give up on us. I'll always love you, Claire. But I need time. I need to figure out who I am without this. Without you pulling me along. I'm sorry. Jake's departure wasn't just a goodbye. It was a necessity. His love for Claire had defined him for years, but her rejection, her blindness, had left scars deeper than the wounds from Rick. He needed space to heal, to find himself beyond the werewolf curse and the pain of unrequited love. For Claire, his words were a wake-up call. She'd taken his devotion for granted, and now standing alone, she felt the emptiness of a world without him. Regret isn't just sorrow. It's a mirror showing you the choices you wish you could undo. Jake's decision to leave was about self-respect, not abandonment. He'd given everything to Claire, his heart, his humanity, his safety. But love can't survive on one-sided effort. His departure forced Claire to confront her mistakes, her obsession with Rick's world, her failure to trust Jake, her dismissal of his quiet devotion. Regret is a powerful teacher, isn't it? It strips away excuses, leaving you face to face with the truth. For Claire, that truth was clear. She'd hurt the person who mattered most, and rebuilding that trust would mean rebuilding herself first. We've all felt that ache knowing we've let someone down, and wondering if we can ever make it right. This hits close to home thinking about my friend Carlos in Austin. He was head over heels for his girlfriend Sophia, always there to support her through med school. But Sophia, caught up in her career, took him for granted, brushing off his efforts. When Carlos finally left, needing to find his own path, Sophia was devastated. She realized too late how much he'd meant. It took months of soul-searching for her to reach out, and even then rebuilding their bond was hard. Like Claire, Sophia learned that regret is a signal to change, not just to mourn. And like Jake, Carlos needed space to rediscover his worth. Regret is a teacher, but only if you listen. Claire's 10th lesson was, this: don't let love slip away before you see its value. When someone gives you their heart honor, it with trust and presence, not assumptions. Because once they walk away, the hardest fight is earning them back. As Jake stepped into his own journey, Claire was left with her regrets and a fire to make things right. But the mansion's curse still cast a long shadow, and the truth about Rick was only the beginning of her battle. Claire was ready to fight, not just for Jake, but for herself. Let's follow her as she turns inward, searching for the strength to rebuild what she's lost. 11. Claire's self-reflection and growth. Some moments in life force you to stop and look inward, to face the person you've been, and decide who you want to become. For Claire Riley, that moment came in the stillness of her apartment, where the echoes of her mistakes were loudest. After losing Jake Carter's trust, Claire wasn't just rebuilding her life, she was rebuilding herself. Claire had escaped Rick Harper's cursed trap, saved by Jake's sacrifice, and Ivy Martinez's courage. But freedom didn't erase the pain she'd caused. She'd chased Rick's empty promises, blinded by ambition, and pushed away Jake, the friend who'd loved her through everything. Ivy's lie had fueled that betrayal, but Claire knew the truth. Her own choices had led her here. Now alone with her thoughts, she was grappling with regret, not just for what she'd lost, but for who she'd been. This wasn't about fixing others. It was about fixing her heart. Claire's sketchbook wasn't just for designs anymore. It was her sanctuary, a place to pour out her fears and hopes. She wrote about Jake's quiet love, how she'd taken it for granted. She wrote about Ivy's betrayal and her bravery in the forest. Most of all, she wrote about herself, her ambition, her blindness, her need to prove she was enough. Each word was a step toward understanding a promise to be better. Claire wasn't just reflecting. She was growing, learning to trust her instincts and value the people who mattered most. Hi, I'm Claire. I've made some mistakes hurt people I love. I'm here to learn how to be better for them and for me. Claire's self-reflection was her turning point, a moment to confront her flaws and choose growth over guilt. She'd been driven by ambition seeking validation in Rick's world, but that chase had cost her Jake's trust and nearly her life. Now, through writing and seeking support, she was learning to listen to herself, to honor the love she'd overlooked. Growth isn't a single epiphany, is it? It's a daily choice to face your mistakes and build something new. Claire's journey was about rediscovering her worth, not through wealth or charm, but through honesty and courage. We've all had to look in that mirror to decide who we want to be when the dust settles. This reminds me of my friend Leah in Boston. She was a workaholic, always chasing the next promotion, neglecting her partner Dan. When Dan left, fed up with being ignored, Leah hit rock bottom. She started journaling, joined a therapy group, and faced her need for approval. It wasn't easy, but over time she rebuilt her life, focusing on relationships over success. When she and Dan reconnected, their bond was stronger because Leah had grown. Like Claire, Leah learned that self-reflection is the first step to healing what you've broken, and it starts with being honest with yourself. Growth begins when you stop running from yourself. Claire's 11th lesson was, this reflection isn't about dwelling on mistakes, it's about building a better you. Take time to listen to your heart, to face your flaws, and choose who you want to be. Because the person you become is the greatest gift you can give to those you love. As Claire closed her sketchbook, she felt a spark of strength, a promise to herself and those she loved. But growth doesn't happen in a vacuum, does it? While Claire was finding her way, Ivy was wrestling with her own guilt, determined to rebuild their friendship. Let's turn to Ivy and see how her efforts light a new path for them both. 12. Ivy's efforts to rebuild trust. Trust, once broken, is like a shattered mirror, hard to piece back together, but not impossible if you're willing to do the work. For Ivy Martinez, her betrayal of Claire Riley had left their friendship in fragments. But Ivy wasn't ready to let it go. In the quiet of her apartment, she was crafting a plan, not just to say sorry, but to show it to rebuild what she'd nearly destroyed. Ivy's lie about Jake Carter claiming he'd spoken ill of Claire had driven a wedge between her best friend and the man who loved her. It was a moment of jealousy born from feeling overshadowed by Claire's success and Jake's devotion. But in the forest, risking her life to free Claire from Rick Harper's cursed ritual, Ivy had taken her first step toward redemption. Her confession in the coffee shop had laid her heart bare, but words alone weren't enough. Ivy knew trust had to be earned, and she was ready to fight for it for Claire and for the friendship that had once been her anchor. Jake, I know I messed up big time. I hurt Claire and I hurt you. I'm trying to make it right, but I need your help. She misses you, and I think you miss her too. Ivy, I'm not sure I'm ready. She broke my trust. I need time to figure things out. I get it, I do. But Claire's changing. She's seeing what she lost. I'm planning something for her birthday, a surprise to show her she's not alone. Will you at least think about it? Ivy's efforts weren't grand gestures, they were small, deliberate acts of care. She wrote letters to Claire, apologizing again, and sharing memories of their UCLA days. She called old friends, organizing a surprise birthday party to remind Claire of the love around her. And she reached out to Jake, hoping to bridge the gap her lie had created. Each step was a brick in the foundation of trust. She was rebuilding a promise that she'd be the friend Claire deserved. It wasn't easy. Guilt still weighed on her, but Ivy was learning that redemption is a marathon, not a sprint. You're trying, Ivy. I see it. Ivy's efforts were about action, not just intention. Rebuilding trust isn't about erasing the past. It's about showing up day after day with honesty and heart. Her lie had come from a place of insecurity, but her work now was rooted in love for Claire and respect for Jake. Ivy's growth mirrored Claire's own journey of self-reflection, showing that mistakes don't have to define us. Trust is fragile, isn't it? Once it's broken, it takes patience and persistence to mend. Ivy's small axe letters, Cookies a Birthday Plan, were proof that even the tiniest steps can rebuild a bridge if you're willing to keep walking. This reminds me of my friend Tara from Seattle. She and her friend Kelly had a falling out after Tara borrowed money and didn't pay it back, letting pride get in the way. When Kelly cut her off, Tara was crushed. She started small, sending apology texts, helping Kelly's mom with groceries, showing up to support Kelly's art show. It took months, but Kelly saw Tara's effort and forgave her. Like Ivy, Tara learned that trust is rebuilt through consistent, humble actions, and like Claire, Kelly opened her heart when she saw the change. Their friendship grew stronger, for it a reminder that effort can heal what words alone. Trust is rebuilt one step at a time with heart and humility. Ivy's 12th lesson was, this: don't let shame stop you from making amends. Show up, keep trying, even when it's hard. Because the bonds worth saving are the ones you fight for, not with words, but with actions that prove your love. As Ivy poured her heart into rebuilding trust, Claire felt the stirrings of forgiveness, a bridge forming between them. But the surprise Ivy was planning was bigger than coffee. It was a moment that would light up Claire's world and bring Jake back into her orbit. Let's step into that celebration where love and loyalty shine brighter than ever. 13. The birthday surprise and reunion. There's something magical about a surprise, isn't there? It's not just the moment itself, but the love behind it. The way it says, you matter even when you feel alone. For Claire Riley, her birthday was shaping up to be a quiet, lonely day. But Ivy Martinez, her friend fighting to rebuild their trust, had other plans. Tonight, the past and present would collide, bringing Claire face to face with the love she'd nearly lost. Claire's heart was still raw from Jake Carter's departure. His sacrifice, revealing his werewolf identity to save her from Rick Harper's curse, had opened her eyes to his love. But her regret for pushing him away lingered. Ivy's betrayal, though, softened by her confession, and efforts to make amends left trust fragile. Claire thought her birthday would be a day to wallow, to mourn the mistakes that had cost her so much. But Ivy, determined to show Claire she wasn't alone, had spent weeks planning a surprise, pulling together old friends, and the one person Claire needed most, Jake. "What? How did you—" "Ivy, you did this. Happy birthday, Claire. You deserve to know you're loved." That moment was a burst of light in Claire's darkness. Ivy's surprise wasn't just a party. It was a tapestry of love, woven from her efforts to rebuild trust. She'd called friends, baked a cake, and convinced Jake to return, knowing Claire needed him. Jake's presence was a risk. He'd left to find himself to heal from Claire's rejection. But Ivy's plea and his love for Claire had brought him back, if only for this night. As Claire moved through the crowd, hugging friends, her eyes kept drifting to Jake, her heart pounding with hope and fear. "Jake, you're here. I didn't think you'd come." Ivy wouldn't take no for an answer. "And I wanted to see you smile today." "I don't deserve this, Jake, but I'm so glad you're here." The birthday surprise was more than a celebration. It was a turning point. Ivy's efforts showed Claire that trust could be rebuilt, that love could mend what betrayal had broken. Jake's return, even temporary, was a reminder of his devotion, a spark of hope for their future. Claire's realization in that room was profound. She wasn't alone, despite her mistakes. The party was a mirror reflecting the loyalty she'd overlooked in her chase for Rick's world. We've all had moments like this, haven't we? When life surprises us with love, we didn't expect, showing us that healing begins with connection, not isolation. This reminds me of my friend Maya in Chicago. She drifted from her family after a fight over her career choice, feeling isolated, on her 30th birthday. Her brother, despite their rift, organized a surprise party, inviting cousins, old friends, even her high school teacher. Maya was overwhelmed, realizing her family still loved her, flaws and all. It took time to rebuild their bond, but that night was the start. Like Ivy, her brother showed love through action. And like Claire, Maya learned that connection can heal even the deepest wounds. It's a reminder that surprises born of love can change everything. Love surprises us when we need it most, if we let it in. Claire's 13th lesson was this: open your heart to the people who show up, even after you've pushed them away. Their efforts, their presence, are proof that you're never as alone as you feel. Embrace those moments. They're the start of healing. As the candles flickered and laughter filled the room, Claire felt a warmth she hadn't known in months. Ivy's surprise had brought Jake back, if only for a night, and sparked a hope for reconciliation. But hope is just the beginning, isn't it? Claire and Jake had a long road ahead, one that would demand honesty and courage to rebuild what they'd lost. Let's stay with them as they take their first steps toward a new beginning. 14. Claire and Jake's reconciliation. Love has a way of finding its way back, doesn't it? Like a river, carving a new path after a storm. For Claire Riley and Jake Carter, their love had been tested by betrayal, sacrifice, and time apart. But on this night, under the glow of Claire's birthday candles, they stood at the edge of a new beginning, a chance to rebuild what they'd lost, if they could find the courage to speak their truth. Claire's birthday surprise, orchestrated by Ivy Martinez, had brought Jake back into her orbit. His presence was a spark, reigniting the love Claire had overlooked while chasing Rick Harper's empty promises. Jake's sacrifice, revealing his werewolf identity to save her from Rick's curse, had opened her eyes, but his departure to find himself had left her with regret. Now, face to face, Claire knew this was her moment to bridge the gap her mistakes had created. For Jake, it was a test. Could he trust Claire again after the pain of her rejection? "Jake, I've spent weeks replaying everything, how I pushed you away, how I didn't see your love. I was blind, chasing something I thought I needed. But it's you I need. I'm sorry for hurting you, and I'll spend every day proving I've changed if you'll let me." "Claire, you broke my heart. I gave you everything and it wasn't enough. I'm scared to let you in again, to wonder if I'll be enough next time you get lost." "You've always been enough, Jake. I was the one who wasn't. I'm learning, I'm trying. I love you, and I want to fight for us together. That kiss was more than a moment, it was a vow. Claire's honesty, her willingness to own her mistakes, cracked the walls Jake had built. His love, steady through every storm, found a path back to her. Their reconciliation wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was a beginning, a promise to rebuild trust with patience and truth. Ivy's surprise had set the stage, but it was Claire and Jake's courage to speak, to listen, that lit the way forward. In that embrace, they found not just love, but the strength to face their scars together. Finally, you two took you long enough. Thanks, Ivy, for everything. Claire and Jake's reconciliation was a testament to love's resilience. Claire's growth, her self-reflection, her commitment to change gave Jake the trust he needed to open his heart again. Jake's forgiveness, rooted in his unwavering love, showed that healing is possible when both sides are willing to work. Their kiss wasn't the end of their pain. It was the start of a journey to rebuild step by step. Love isn't about erasing the past, is it? It's about facing it together, choosing each other despite the scars. Claire and Jake were doing just that, proving that even broken bonds can mend stronger than before. This reminds me of my friends Nate and Lila in Denver. They'd been together for years, but Lila's focus on her law career left Nate feeling neglected. After a fight, they broke up, and Nate moved out. Months later, Lila, after therapy and soul-searching, reached out owning her mistakes. Nate was hesitant, but her honesty and his love brought them back together. Their reunion, like Claire and Jake's, wasn't instant. It took talks, tears, and time. But they rebuilt their love stronger, a reminder that reconciliation thrives on honesty and effort, not just feelings. Love mends when you face the truth together. Claire's 14th lesson was, this reconciliation isn't about forgetting pain. It's about building trust through honesty and effort. Speak your heart, listen to theirs, and choose to grow together. Because love worth having is love worth fighting for. As Claire and Jake held each other under the stars, their love was a beacon, lighting a path through their pain. Ivy's efforts had brought them here, proving that trust could be rebuilt. But their journey wasn't over, was it? With love rekindled, Jake and Ivy faced a new chapter, one where they'd build a future together, stronger than ever. Let's follow them into that dawn, where hope and loyalty shape their next steps. 15, a new beginning for Claire, Jake, and Ivy. Every story has its endings, but the best ones also have beginnings. Moments where the lessons of the past light the way forward. For Claire Riley, Jake Carter, and Ivy Martinez, their journey through betrayal, sacrifice, and love had led them here to a new dawn, where they could build a life rooted in trust, not dreams that glitter and fade. Claire had learned the hard way what mattered most. Her chase for Rick Harper's wealth had nearly cost her everything, blinding her to Jake's love and Ivy's loyalty. Jake's sacrifice, revealing his werewolf identity to save her, had opened her heart, and Ivy's redemption through her confession and birthday surprise had rebuilt their friendship. Now standing in her own design studio, Claire wasn't chasing validation anymore. She was living it, surrounded by the people who'd stood by her through the storm. I couldn't have done this without you two. This studio, this life, it's ours, not just mine. Well, I did fix that wobbly shelf, so I'm taking some credit. And I brought the coffee, so I'm basically the MVP. But seriously, Claire, you're killing it. We're proud of you. This new beginning wasn't just about Claire's studio. It was about their shared future. Claire had traded her ambition for wealth for a dream rooted in passion, designing spaces that told stories of love and resilience. Jake, still navigating his werewolf identity, found balance in supporting Claire and helping others, volunteering at a local shelter. Ivy, her guilt easing, was auditioning again, her confidence renewed by their friendship. Together, they were building a life of small, meaningful moments, coffee dates, late-night talks, acts of kindness that wove their bond tighter than ever. This feels right, us together doing something good. Yeah, it does. We're home, Jake. Claire, Jake, and Ivy's new beginning was a testament to what they'd learned: love and loyalty outshine ambition's empty promises. Claire's growth facing her blindness to Jake's love had made her stronger, more present. Jake's forgiveness, rooted in his unwavering devotion, showed that love could heal even the deepest wounds. Ivy's redemption through her persistent efforts proved that trust could be rebuilt with time and truth. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was real, a reminder that life's richest moments come from connection, not conquest. We all crave that, don't we? A place to belong, built on the lessons we've earned. This reminds me of my friends Sam, Ellie, and Tara in Portland. They drifted apart after a messy fallout: Sam's career obsession, Ellie's resentment, Tara's meddling. But after a crisis brought them back together, they chose to rebuild. Sam started a small bakery, Ellie helped with marketing, and Tara organized community events. Their new beginning, like Claire, Jake, and Ivy's, wasn't about erasing the past, but building on it with shared goals and forgiveness. They learned, as our trio did, that life's best chapters start when you choose connection over ego, creating a home in each other. New beginnings bloom where love and effort meet. Claire's 15th lesson was this: the life you want isn't built on what you chase, but who you cherish. Hold tight to those who stand by you, and let your dreams grow from shared joy, not solitary ambition. Because home isn't a place, it's the people who make you whole. As Claire, Jake, and Ivy stepped into their new beginning, their hearts were full, their bond unbreakable. Their story forged in pain, and love was a light for what lay ahead. But every dawn holds new possibilities, doesn't it? And as they walked forward hand in hand, their journey whispered of adventures yet to come. Let's leave them here under the LA sky and dream of what's next.